My name is Greg Cooper. Everybody knows me as Coop. This is my latest van. It's a 1970 Dodge A1. It's actually a Dodge A108 is what it started out. Long wheelbase version of the A100. It's one of the last ones of this model built late in 1970. It has a complete Chevy drivetrain in it that I took out of another van. Motor transmission, wiring harness, computer, fuel tank, steering column, all of it out of an Astro van, including the seats. So really it's a Dodge van, sheet metal. Everything else is pretty much Chevy. I bought the van from a friend of mine out in California in 2009, and started working on it the following year, and it took me about 4 years to get it this far. Every time I would come up with an idea that I think was cool, and I'd come up with something else, and it just kept growing. Things like shaved the door handles, shaved off the hinges, sunk the headlights in, removed the turn signals. Turn signals are now inside the headlights. Molded the grill in, took out the center brace out of the grill to give it more of a horizontal look. Molded the bumpers. There's a lot of little details on the thing, like rounding the corners on the doors. The doors are normally square, but that's an old custom trick from back in the 50s to round the corners on the doors and the hoods and that kind of stuff. So I did that on all the doors on the truck. Kind of gives it a little more cleaner look. I like that. And of course, all the seams on the truck have been filled. When they put these trucks together, they just use a seam sealer to fill the seams, so the seams are all visible. So I went back and dug all of that out, all the seams, welded all the seams up so they wouldn't crack out, and then molded them in. There's a seam that runs down this way and one that runs across there. There's another one in the back where the rear end's attached to it. And there's another on the 108. There's another one over here where the extension piece is put in. So it took me probably 3 weeks to do all the seam work on this truck. It was a lot of work. I've replaced the mirrors with a closed circuit camera system. There's a camera on each side and one in the back, which actually gives you 360-degree view of everything around you. It's better than mirrors. It's really, I don't know why nobody's ever done it before. It's a great idea. The seats are out, like I say, are out of an Astro. I made when I shortened the truck has been shortened. I don't think I mentioned that. The 108 was cut down. I took 3 feet out of the center of the truck and replaced the side doors with a single door, which is about a width and a half of a normal door. It's all run by remotes. You got remote releases for the doors, remotes for the windows. I've added a vintage air conditioning system, stereo system. It has a digital dash in it. Digitar gauges, digital dash. I have an Alpine stereo system which will run an iPod or an iPad is what I'm using for your music. Motor's a 350. It's basically a stock motor. It's fuel injected motor from a Camaro is what it was originally in, 1992 Camaro. It was in the Astro van that I swapped the motor into this. It's fairly easy swap. The wiring harness and everything is the same as the V6. All you have to do is change the chip. The shifter is actually a stock Dodge shifter, but it's got a tiki handle on it that I put on there. It's kind of a little thematic. The dash itself is digital. I didn't think I did tell you that. It fits right into the original stock Dodge bezel, which is pretty cool. The overhead console has the 3 monitors for the cameras on the outside. The right and the left, and the one in the middle is the camera in the back. And then I got my XM radio receiver and light switch up there. My son built me a solid stainless steel exhaust system. Has an X pipe resonators and mufflers that he's built into an area that's only about 3 feet long from the back of the motor to where the exhaust tips come out. He did a beautiful job on it. It's all polished stainless. I'm really proud of what he did on this truck. It's nice. The wheels are Riddler wheels, 18s front, 20s on the back. The underside's got a lot of paint work on it. I don't know if you can see in the mirror, there's a cartoon mural on the bottom of the gas tank. I've painted most of the underside of the truck, the axles, springs, cross members, that kind of thing. The Surfink name comes from a model kit that I built when I was a kid. It was the Surfink, which was one of Ed Roth's Ratfink models that came out in 1963. I've always been a huge Ratfink fan, and when I decided to build this, somebody suggested that I use Ratfink as a theme for the truck. So I made a little surf buggy out of it and painted it up. The Camaro, the color on the top is the Camaro Synergy Green from the latest Camaros. The color on the bottom is called Snakeskin Green, which was a color that Chrysler put on the Prowler for 1 or 2 years. And I've always liked those colors. They work really well together. The tail lights have been tunneled in, as they call it. I have 2 custom-made taillight lenses with Ratfink sculpted into the taillight lens. I don't know if you can get a shot of that or not. As a painter, I am an officially licensed Ratfink artist, which is what the RFA stands for on the license plate, and that was an eBay find. It was just absolutely spur of the moment. I had to have that because it's even the correct year for the truck. So that was pretty fun to find that. Okay, I tried to keep the interior kind of a contemporary hot rod style, nice clean look. The seats and the walls are done with an imitation leather. It's not pure leather, but it's a kind of pleather, they call it, I guess. Made a big bench in the back, which basically is a bed. I can stay in this truck, sleep in it. Since it's so short, there's not a lot of room inside. There's a lot of storage under the bed, so I can put all my stuff under there and still use the truck. The surfboard on the wall I carved from an actual surfboard blank that the surfboard makers out in California use to make their custom boards. I took it, drew all the Ratfink and the lettering on it, and then carved it out and fiberglassed it and put the shark bite up in the corner to kind of go along with the theme of the characters that are on the Surfink album that's in there. The cookie jar is a cookie jar that I am producing. It's actually a ceramic piece that I made the original sculpt for. Had a mold made off of it, and I'm pouring them and making the Surfing cookie jars. So that's kind of cool. I have fun with those. What else? Oh, there's a lot of LED lighting in here. If you get a chance to see it at the Bright and Shine tonight, I've got LEDs all hidden behind all the panels. There's even an LED strip that's in the drip rail, which is kind of backwards for the guys that put lights under their truck. I put mine up on top. So this little pad here on the floor was a kind of a afterthought. It's I actually recessed the battery into the floor. The battery in these trucks originally was behind the driver's seat, which was a really difficult place to get to. So we moved the battery over and recessed it into the floor, and I made this little spongy pad to go over the top, so when you kneel in, go in the truck, you go in on your knee, otherwise you tear your knee up. Use that little pad to help protect you a little bit.